Welcome to the next video. In this video, we'll look at the role of inventory in supply chain strategy and in the competitive strategy. Inventory can be captured by this diagram. Whenever anybody talks about inventory, I would suggest that you make this kind of diagram, which is of a water tank, which stores water and which has got supply of water and taking out of water. So inventory in a manufacturing company, it is classified into three categories. One is raw material inventory. This is the inventory of materials that you get from the suppliers which are yet to be processed. The materials which are being processed but are still not finished into the final product, that is called WIP, work in progress. Third type of inventory is where all operations on the material has been done, it has been made into a final product and that is ready to be shipped to the customer or to the retailers. This is called finished goods inventory. Apart from that, there could be two other kinds of inventory, but this is not that the company makes. One is spare parts inventory. Spare part inventory is the inventory of spare parts and maintenance items that the company requires for its machines, for its boilers, for its excavators, for its engines, for its DG sets. They all require spare parts. So those spare parts which are not being manufactured by the company or processed, but they are used in repair and maintenance of the machinery, these are called spare parts. Spare part inventory could be very, very large. I know of few companies where this kind of inventory is quite low and this kind of inventory is very, very high. So spare part inventory is very, very high for mining industry. They have got excavators, they have got road rollers, they have got JCBs, and these machines, they work in very tough environments. So they require very large quantity of spare parts to run their equipment. So they may have very large amount of spare parts inventory. Another kind of inventory is pipeline inventory. Raw material, WIP and finished goods inventory, and this is what is there inside the factory. The inventory which is outside the factory, that is pipeline inventory. So pipeline inventory is that inventory which is on its way to come to you from supplier to the factory. The inventory or goods which are coming is pipeline inventory. Similarly, goods which have been shipped from the factory and it is yet to reach their customer, that is also in the pipeline. So this is pipeline inventory. Pipeline inventory could be large when the factories, they are far off from the customers. So if you are importing goods or if you are exporting goods, they will travel long time and they will travel long distances. So goods which are imported or exported, they will have large pipeline inventory. Pipeline inventory is likely to be raw material inventory when you are buying from the suppliers, and pipeline inventory is likely to be finished goods inventory when you are shipping to your customers. What is inventory and how does it develop? From this diagram, it is quite clear when supply is greater than sales, there will be more water entering into the tank and less will be going out. So in that case, your inventory, it will increase. And if your supply is less than sales, then your inventory, it will come down. And in case supply is equal to sales rate, in that case, there will not be any change in the inventory. If inventory is 500, it will remain 500, and if it is 0, it will remain 0. Note that when supply rate is equal to sales rate, Inventory does not become zero. The only thing is it does not change. Next, let us look at what are the classifications of inventory for our purposes. We can classify inventory into two purposes. First is cycle inventory and second one is safety inventory. Cycle inventory is that inventory which occurs primarily because of mismatch between batch size of procurement, production and shipment. So as we have seen earlier, that inventory goes up and down mainly because there is a mismatch between supply and sales. Either it is greater, then it builds up, and if it is less, then it comes down, and if it is equal to, then inventory does not change. The rate at which a company buys material and the rate at which it sells it does not match. Let us look at a roadside panwala. He sells Coca-Colas and he sells maybe some 50 bottles a day. But when he gets the shipment from the company, he might be buying some 250 bottles whenever it comes. So he does not buy for daily requirement, but he buys in large quantities because that is the way shipment comes. Similarly, you might be using toothpaste every day. Okay, maybe about 2 grams a day. But we do not go and buy 2 grams of toothpaste every day. We buy 200 grams of toothpaste, so which is equivalent to 100 days, and this is equivalent to 5 days. Similarly, you might be using shampoo every day. Let us say that is 10 ml, and you do not buy 10 ml every day. You might buy 300 ml. If you are using every day, so obviously it will be for 30 days. What we buy and what we sell, generally it is difficult to match these two because you get the products available in fixed and larger sizes than what you consume. So the inventory which happens because of this mismatch between supply and sales is called cycle inventory. We will be talking about cycle inventory in a separate chapter. Full chapter we are going to devote on how to manage cycle inventory. Next type of inventory is called safety inventory. The purpose of this inventory is to look at uncertainty. There can be uncertainties. There can be uncertainties in both on the left hand side and also on the right hand side. There can be uncertainty in supply and there can be uncertainty in the sales. If there is uncertainty in the supply and if you do not have inventory, then your sales are going to suffer. To see that my sales do not suffer because there is uncertainty in the supply, so we keep inventory. The inventory that we keep because there is uncertainty in the supply, or there is uncertainty in the sales because sometimes sales could be very high. So the inventory that you keep to deal with two kinds of uncertainties, one is from the inflow, another is from the outflow, or one is from supply and another from sales. This is called safety inventory. Safety inventory is related to uncertainty. And if there is no uncertainty, in that case, safety inventory is not required. The only inventory that the company will carry is only the cycle inventory. When uncertainties increase, in that case, safety inventory has to be higher. There are two other aspects that will deal. One is called seasonal inventory. You will notice that there are many products which have got seasonality. Let us look at apples. Apple's production, it happens something like this. And this is time, it is not a normal distribution. And this is the production. So production largely happens in a very short time. But the consumption of apples, it is something like this. So we have got inventory that builds up during this period. In this period, production is higher than consumption, and we cannot do anything on the production case. In this case, we have got seasonality on the supply side. We can also have seasonality which is on the sales side. If you look at sweaters, look at air conditioners, look at water coolers, look at umbrellas, in that case production happens something like this, which is supply, and consumption, it happens something like this in a very short period. Large number of air conditioners are sold or crackers are sold. So this is what is called seasonal inventory. This seasonal inventory occurs. It is actually a cycle inventory, but it occurs mainly because there is seasonality inherent and you cannot do much over this easily. But seasonal inventory is in fact a cycle inventory. Another inventory decision which is crucial for us, which relates to inventory, is about the sourcing. So sourcing from where you buy, it also affects your inventory decisions. If you have decided to buy the products from abroad, it will take long time to reach you. Therefore, your pipeline inventory, that kind of inventory is going to be high. So location as well as capacity of the vendor's facilities will also affect your inventory. If the capacity of the vendors is very high, you will need to keep less inventory. But if capacity of the vendors is low, then you may have to keep higher inventory. These are some of the aspects with which we will be dealing with later. Now let us look at how does inventory affects the responsiveness and efficiency of a supply chain. If you decide to have higher inventory, this is good, because if you have inventory, you will have very few instances where customer demands a product and product is not available. So higher inventory will ensure that there are fewer stockouts. And if stockouts are few, availability will be high, which means that you have not lost any sales and therefore you are more responsive to the customer. So one of the ways to have high responsiveness is through higher inventory. So marketing people, they like high inventory because they do not lose any sales and customer is happy and he gets whatever he wants without having to wait. But it also has got the costs. Higher inventory means higher working capital. The inventory that you have, that is purchased from money. So this money is not earning. If you had kept that money in the bank, you would have earned interest, or you would not have borrowed from somebody and paid the interest. But now you have taken the money, and from that money you have got the goods, and these goods are lying in your warehouses and they are not earning any money. So the money that gets blocked, this is called higher working capital. And working capital has got a cost, because either you have taken this money on loan or that money belongs to the shareholders. In any case, that is also a cost. So higher the inventory has higher working capital requirement, therefore higher cost, and higher cost always means lower efficiency. So when it comes to profit is equal to revenue minus cost. So in this slide we have seen inventory, it can increase the responsiveness, but at same time it also increases the costs. Let me now introduce a formula which is called Little's law or Little's formula. Little's formula is a relationship between three variables. One of them is inventory. So formula goes like this: I is equal to D into T. I is inventory, D is throughput rate, and T is the flow time. So what it says is inventory is equal to throughput rate into flow time. This particular formula establishes a relationship between inventory and throughput rate so as to affect the flow time. Let us look at this example. Through this example, it will become quite clear. We have got a water tank or a warehouse which has got an inventory of 5,000 units, and we are withdrawing or making a sales of 100 units per day. So this is called throughput rate, and this is our inventory. We would like to know what is the flow time. Flow time is given by T is equal to I over D, and I in our case is 5,000 and D is 100. So that gives us 50 days. So what we find is that if this is generally the inventory of a factory, and generally this is what they are selling, it means that flow time is 50 days. This means on an average the goods remain in the factory for 50 days before they come out. So the time between the goods are shipped out and when they were taken, this is 50 days. So Little's formula is very similar to the formula which you have seen when you were in school. I am sure all of you know the formula: distance is equal to speed into time. Distance is equivalent to or similar to our inventory. Speed is similar to our throughput rate, what is going out, and the time it takes to cover the distance is similar to our flow time, which is given by T. Thank you.